Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Now, I did a little poll on Facebook, and the poll was about a slogan for the show. One of the slogans was exposing punk politicians on the daily. I like that. But the other one was where the truth will make you free. And most of the people like that. And I guess I got to go with it because I got to give people what they want, right? I ain't got to give you jack, but I'll go ahead and do it in this case. But, well, the truth will make you free. And I want to do whatever I can to make this show about exposing the truth, or what I believe is the truth. And if I'm wrong, I can admit I'm wrong. But we need to talk about some truth today. Andrew Cuomo, not Andrew Cuomo, but what's his name? Give me a moment. On Cuomo Prime Time on CNN, they begin to talk about Elizabeth Warren. Now, you got to understand this. Much as I got my disagreement with Bernie Sanders on a couple of issues, and it's just a couple of issues. I mean, I think his policies are great. It ain't going to close the wealth gap, but it actually can do some good for America versus people who ain't doing nothing. Now, the thing is, will he get a Congress in there to let him help him do it? Now, that's a different story. We get a lot of people who say they have these great plans, and the plans look great on paper, and we trust that politician going to do it, but oftentimes they still stab us in the back. We trusted Obama, didn't do us right the first 4 years. Gave him another 4 years, still didn't do right, especially for the black community. But right now, I got to tell you the truth. And the truth is the Democratic Party don't like Bernie Sanders because they believe he's a democratic socialist. They actually believe that he's going to change the system. They actually believe that he's going to mess with their wallet, and they hate him. And Bernie Sanders welcomed their hatred. He's put on the mantle of FDR, and I got to tell you, FDR, he did not do anything for the black community. He decided to tell black leaders that, hey, I need to get this New Deal done. Then we'll talk about your issues. Well, we got the New Deal done, and he never talked about the issues of the black community after he got it done. But yet, I got to let you know the New Deal did help out the black community, but it wasn't enough. It still left the black community far behind the predominantly white community of America, yet it was the backs of blacks that built this country into the prosperous country that it is. Now, truth is going to be told right here. Right now, the Democratic Party they kind of fear that Biden ain't going to make it. And you can rest in that fear because Biden ain't going to make it. Ain't nobody going to be voting for racist Joe Biden. Crime Bill Joe. Pedo Joe. Whatever you want to call him. Nobody's going to push him. Black ladies 65 and up, they'll push Joe Biden because, they love Obama, so they'll push him. They're not going to take time to look at Joe Biden's record and see how horrible and anti-black his records were. They're not going to do it. But anybody about 50 or 45 on below ain't buying Joe Biden. So Joe Biden will not be the nominee unless the Democratic Party do what I strongly believe they're going to do again, because nothing telling me that he won't rig this election. Not Russia, not Trump, the Democratic Party. Tom Perez will do the same thing that Debbie Watch Her Man She Sucks did in 2016. Cheat. He already got it rigged, and you see that. So right now they know that Biden ain't going to make it. They believe Kamala, they don't have their trust in Kamala either. Beto is out. He was a hot thing for a minute, and he got cold. Buttigieg is just straight booty. He ain't got nothing going on. Being gay and having a husband for a teacher ain't gonna get people excited enough to go out there and vote. He got issues concerning policing in his own city, and he need to focus on his own city. Mayor de Blasio ain't got jack. Worry about New York, Mayor de Blasio. We got too much problems in New York City for you to try to fix the problems of America. You haven't even done New York City yet. Step off. So with all these candidates that are going down in the poll, there's one all of a sudden is rising, and that is Elizabeth Warren. Now, Elizabeth Warren, former Republican, so was I. But Elizabeth Warren is known to me as Late Liz, as you always know it. She's an opportunist, and she always careful on her political moves. She don't care how she look concerning it, but she's very careful. She always late to the show, and they're trying to make her into the policy queen. You trying to make Elizabeth Warren the policy queen? Don't get me wrong. She come up with some creative policies, but where was her 5 years ago with all these creative policies? Nowhere to be found. Matter of fact, she was still on her way to Dapple. Nope, she never made it there. Matter of fact, she was on her way to support Bernie Sanders in Michigan and in Massachusetts. Nope, she didn't do that. She was quiet. Matter of fact, she went in after the election was over, after the nomination was over, she went and campaigned for Hillary Clinton so hard she clapped her hands off.
And Hillary Clinton is the granddaughter of a factory worker who's going to make it all the way to the White House. We believe in that America. Yes, she fights for us. She fights for us, and we will fight for Hillary Clinton. She fights for us. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our next president.
Hands, everybody, if you got what it takes.
Clap their hands off. So right now, CNBC, MSNBC are doing these internal polls within their organization, all working with some other polls to get the thought in your head that she's like Charlie Sheen.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there.
They want to put in your mind that Elizabeth Warren is going to do the 5th verse.
I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Elizabeth Warren ain't doing no 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th verse to that song, because she ain't winning. They trying to put in your mind a perception. They say perception is everything, and they know most people are not strategic voters. Most of them are slut voters, and they just go vote for somebody all because the media told them this is who to vote for. See, right now the media can't use superdelegate counts. So what they got to do is they're using internal polling to stir the narrative, the direction for most people. And I'm telling you, don't buy it, don't fall for it. Now, we're going to listen to a segment of Cuomo's Primetime where this particular pollster, this particular guy goes in to the so-called strength of Warren. And that's the whole talk right now. We can't have Bernie Sanders. That brother's a socialist, democratic socialist, so we can't have that dude. Now, this is the talk on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. We can't have the socialist agenda, the agenda of the democratic socialists is gaining steam. Now, you know me, I'm popping shots at it. I'm still letting it be known that it could pop all the steam it won't. It ain't gonna get no help from the black community if there's no black agenda. I know you say, Rob, why you always gotta throw that in there? I got to, Doc. I got to. But is Senator Warren winning? Let's take a look at this.
So, what's fueling the rise of Elizabeth Warren? You just heard there, Senator Sanders said that tweet today was not about her. It was about this other group within the Democratic Party. Okay, so let's take a look inside the numbers in this really robust battle for the progressive vote within the Democratic Party. We have a political forecaster here who is more than his good looks, Harry Enton. What does he see coming next?
All right, so let's deal with Cuomo spinning this narrative that there is a war going on in the Progressive Party. There is no war going on. There might be a little struggle in the Democratic Party, but there's no real struggle in the Progressive part. Okay? Now, if you really believe Elizabeth Warren got that kind of juice, let me tell you something. I will predict to you, like I predicted in 2016, she ain't got the juice. She ain't getting a bunch of Republicans. She ain't getting a bunch of independents. Matter of fact, we smell a fraud. Yeah, I know, Rob, why you call her a fraud, man? She's still better than any other person. I give it that. She's better than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and all that. She has a lot of great ideas. She's a progressive. But she's not a person that promotes social democracy. She's still a capitalist. She's still maybe slapping banks and financial institutions on the hand, but she ain't gonna shake the crap out of them. She don't put fear in the hearts and minds of the financial industry who's ripping off everyday people every day. She might say we're gonna do something to this. They probably say, right. Yeah, like you did, like you supported Bernie, like you went to Dapple. Really, Liz? If you're going to do something to us, it's going to take a long time because you're always late to the party. Now, Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, they're scared of that dude. The Democratic Party is scared of that dude. Republicans are scared. And that's why the Democrats and Republicans are teaming up to brand Bernie Sanders, not a socialist, but a communist. Now, I'm telling you, open your eyes. That is what half of the Democratic Party is doing, the corporate-centric Democrats, the third-way Democrats, the media, the Democratic-led, liberal-led media, and the conservative media and the conservative politicians are all joining forces to call Bernie Sanders a communist, not a socialist, a communist, to get him to lose support. And right now, the Democratic Party is so scared of Bernie Sanders' ability to not only knock all people that's in office right now, because he does, because he has all revolution, he got Nina Turner running that. He has power to knock people out of office. Our revolution does. Just as Democrat does. Now, I'm pretty critical of some of these organizations because I really believe we need a third party to shake things up. These people are what somebody told me, people who want to put out the fire in a burning house. I'm like, burn the whole house down and build a brand new house. It's time to stop trying to renovate the old thing called the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and we need a brand new party, one that's going to be focused on people. And Bernie Sanders had his chance to lead that, and he spit in the face of the people who were trying to lead that effort. But that's another story. Cuomo. And this guy you about to hear is going to do a master stroke on the public. Yeah, they're going to go Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, all that, and paint a picture, a pretty beautiful picture. They're going to go Andy Warhol, you name it, in this segment to make you think that Elizabeth Warren is winning. And she ain't winning jack. Watch this.
Battling for the progressive vote, but it is new that we see a move from Warren. So let's bring in Harry Enton to help us. Before we get into the numbers there, because that matters, this Biden thing, sure. All right? It was interesting to me to hear Bernie Sanders say, no, you know what, I'm not giving him a pass on it. He shouldn't have talked about those guys that way. He should still apologize. How big a deal is Biden's processing of his past?
Now, for these trollers who like to troll me, I love you. Did you hear what Cuomo just said? Bernie Sanders said that, look, Joe Biden and his support for these white supremacists, nah, he don't get a pass. Matter of fact, he need to apologize. He said that. So why are you getting mad with me when I tell you that Bernie Sanders voted for that racist crime bill that Joe Biden developed that harmed the black community in urban areas, rural areas too, but mostly urban areas, put a lot of black people in jail, instituted a new form of slavery called the Jim Crow, the new Jim Crow, begin to profit off prison labor, make money, none of it going to the actual prisoners. His excuse for signing that bill to me was a lame excuse because there wasn't as many, anyway, I'm not going to go into that detail. Watch a video I did about that before. I think he should apologize for supporting that racist piece of legislation. He oftentimes will use the fact that this person supported the war in Iraq, and he oftentimes call them out. He's oftentimes telling them they need to apologize for that. And he often taught how he didn't do it. He didn't support the war in Iraq, and it was the most dumbest, disastrous blunder in foreign policy history. That's from Bernie Sanders' mouth. And as you saw, now I could have showed you a video where Bernie Sanders actually said, no, Joe don't get no pass for this. He supported those white supremacists and the busing issue. He don't get no pass. He need to apologize for that. I'm saying the same thing. You support that crime bill, Bernie Sanders. I want you to publicly apologize because I don't want to I'm not giving you a pass over this. Everybody else, you can give them a pass. I'm not. Because I had too many people I know and too many people I love. So my homeboys went to jail for some of the stupidest things in history. I almost went to jail because my boy had weed in his pocket. They were trying to prosecute me as an accessory to the crime. They charged him with having a bag of weed. They charged him for drug paraphernalia. They charged him for drug use. And they tried to say that he was selling the weed when he actually bought the weed from somebody else. Me, that's my boy. We went to get some 40 ounce. We're going to sit on a park bench. And yeah, I was going to smoke some of it. But they wanted to arrest me because he had weed in his pocket. We didn't get a chance to go smoke none of it. I didn't know he had the weed. That's crime. That's that crime bill that locked up a lot of black men. That's that same bill that CBC, black congressional Democrat men and women, supported that bill. That same bill, Bernie Sanders supported that with the vote. Excuse don't mean nothing. Your name went on the check. You put a check on the vote for yes, and that's all that matters to me. Your reasons do not matter. Hillary Clinton supported that bill. She was the P.T. Barnum Bailey of that bill. She went out and promoted it more than anybody. Bill Clinton signed it into law. And you talking about Trump being a racist? You know what I'm saying? I like my racism right in front of my face because I know how to deal with it. I can punch it in the throat. But that incognito racism, that on the down low racism, that stealth stuff is hard to detect. And that's what you get in the Democratic Party. Republican Party, a bunch of racist son of a guns. Democratic Party, a bunch of racist son of a guns, but the difference is they're not up front with it. They incognito stealth with it. Now, let me keep going.
Look, we have seen a lot of attacks over Joe Biden's past, and it hasn't moved the polling numbers. But what a lot of these Democratic candidates are seeing is that Joe Biden is dominating among African-American voters, and they want to take any bit of that pie that they possibly can. Now, obviously, they've brought up past votes with Joe.
Now, let's stop there. Joe Biden, this guy said Joe Biden is dominating with African-American voters. No. It's not African-American voters, because a lot of African-American voters, have rised up. So where are you getting these numbers from, bro? What it is, that's why I say you got to check the polls. You got to actually download the polls and go into detail and analyze the polling. Because he's saying black people, black Americans, but when you look at the polling and who they actually talk to is women, black women, 45 and over. They don't represent all black people. They can't represent the 23-year-old black kid in college who ain't entertaining no Joe Biden. There was kids when when Barack Obama was president. All they saw was Joe Biden was the goofy white guy. This is how they spin this narrative. They painting the picture before you to make it seem like Joe Biden got it going on. But this segment is not about Joe Biden. This segment is about Elizabeth Warren.
Biden in terms of busing that really have not moved the poll numbers at all. But perhaps this one, this current statement that he just made, they're hoping that that may be able to eat into that support. I'm not sure that it necessarily will, because Joe Biden's been dominating among African-American voters. He's also been dominating among older voters who, in fact, may remember James Eastland as a senator from Mississippi.
He's dominating probably with older white voters from the North, maybe from the Midwest, maybe from California. I doubt it. But he's not dominating with black people, bro. So I don't know where you're getting this stuff from. These are internal pollings. Yeah, this pisses me off when I see these people blatantly lying on television, hoping that you buy the lie. Bunch of liars. I remember Cuomo talking about we can look at the WikiLeaks emails, but if you do, you're going to get in trouble. What makes you different from me? Who gave you the authority and the clearance to read those and I can't read them? If they pop up in my email, I'm reading them. Let's keep going.
Mississippi. So I'm a little hesitant to say that anything will move the numbers, but this to me is a level above, so I'm actually interested to see what occurs.
And we'll know soon enough because
We
there's
will.
so much polling going on.
Yeah.
So Warren is making a move up the charts. Is it fair to say she's taking a bite out of Sanders' apple?
Yeah, so take a look at this. This is a Monmouth University poll, and they have a June, a May, and an April. And take a look at this. So in June, what we see...
All right, now you got to understand CNN usually do Monmouth poll, one of the most horrible polls ever. And then they do their own internal polling. And on this date, they say between June 12th and June 17th, Biden had 32%, Warren had 15%, and Bernie had 14%. Where in the hell they get these numbers from? And then in May, it was 33. I can't see with his hand in the way. But let's let him go over these horrible polls.
Is that Warren is actually slightly ahead of Bernie Sanders at 15% to 14%. But look at the movement from Warren. She went from 6 in April, 10 in May, 15 in June. Look at the trend line for Bernie.
In other words, they're saying Warren is rising. Bernie is dropping. 20% in April, 15% in May, 14% in June. Yet if you go to Elizabeth Warren event, she can't fill up a high school gymnasium. Joe Biden, when he go out and do an event, he can't even fill up a broke down restaurant. And yet Bernie Sanders go out and do an event, he fill up stadiums. Stadiums like Trump. Packed the house. People line going around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks. But yet they gonna tell you, No. Our polling is telling us that Joe Biden still holds the lead at 32%. Elizabeth Warren has surpassed Bernie Sanders at 15%. Really, dude, she can't even pack out a high school gymnasium. So I'm telling you, people, the heartbeat is on the ground. Stop listening to these numbnut corporate media knuckleheads who are paid millions of dollars to lie to you. You want to know what's happening with the heartbeat of an election? Go to their events. Because if these people are willing to go out in droves to see this politician, they're willing to go out in droves to go out and vote for this politician. If Joe Biden can't even fill up a broke down restaurant, Denny's, to do a speech, why the hell you think he gonna win? Now people talking about Hillary Clinton lost to Russia. Hillary Clinton got the popular vote because she won most of the metropolitan areas. All across the rest of America, she lost. Why? Because she was sending everybody out there to do her events, hoping to seem like she's winning, but yet when she go to an event, she can't fill up no high school gymnasium. She couldn't even fill up a broke down restaurant. So she'll pimp off Barack Obama. Barack Obama, everybody love him, 55-60% approval. He go out and do a stunt speech for Hillary Clinton. They come out to see him. They ain't coming out for her. And if Obama would have ran for office, he probably wouldn't get the numbers that he got in 2008. But he would have got the voting counts out because people liked Obama. The heartbeat is always on the ground. The heartbeat is always at the grassroots. Stop listening to these rich, highly paid liars on TV and go out there to the events. Let's keep going.
20 in April, 15 in May, 14 in June. So what we see there is that as Elizabeth Warren's going up, Bernie Sanders seems to be falling down.
Why?
Why? Well, let's take a look here. This is a key thing. So we've broken this down by liberal Democrats and moderate conservatives.
Now, listen to this. Now, Cuomo asks, why is he dropping down? Here is where they get their numbers from. Liberal Dems are not progressive. Liberal Dems are those corporate-centric Democrats. That's your Heidi Heitkamp. That's your Joe Manchin. That's your Amy Klobuchar. I can go on and on. These are the people that progressives don't gel with. These are the people who want to keep health insurance in the hand of insurance companies. These are the people who want to make sure businesses These are the people who want to make sure businesses prosper off you being sick. These are the people who want you to pay for public college when public college is already paid for by the taxpayers. These people. Now look what it said. Moderate to / conservative Dems. Moderate to conservative / Dem. They're not polling progressives. They're not polling true independents. And they're not polling Republicans. They're not polling most of America that's either non-voters or possible first-time voters or people who voted in 2016. They're polling moderate conservative Democrats. In other words, lightweight Republicans that we talking about these third-way Democrats.
We compare June to May. And what do we see here? We see Elizabeth Warren jumped up from 14% in May to 25% in June. But then take a look at the moderate to conservative lane. She hasn't moved at all. In fact, she moved a point down. So what she is doing is she is now starting to take the lead among liberal Democrats, at least according to Monmouth University, and that's the lane that she's dominating right now.
Yeah, but you got to understand, most people that's going out to vote right now, mainly independents. Independents is the biggest voting bloc out there, other than the black vote. The black vote is very effective in the primaries, but the independent vote is king when it comes to the general election. Now, I want you to get that in your head right now. Now, here we go. He's not polling Republicans. They're not polling independents, because if they poll independents, if they leave it open for anybody who could pick up a phone to answer their questions, you will see that Bernie Sanders will blow out not only Senator Warren, but Joe Biden. Again, remember what I said. I will always bring you the truth, whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, I'm going to bring you the truth. And here's the truth. They're so picky on who they're going to poll. Monmouth poll moderate and conservative Dems, and that's why you got those numbers on the right, and liberal Dems. In other words, they're polling Dems, either centric Dems or Republican lightweight Dems. They're not polling progressives. And you got to understand, progressives are not just in the Democratic Party. You got a bunch of progressives, independents. And you got some Republicans that believe that have progressive views. So they're trying to pull a hoodwink. They're trying to bamboozle you. I told you they're trying to paint a picture. They think they Leonardo, I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio, but they think they're Leonardo da Vinci, and they're hoping that you're going to buy this painting that they're, this picture that they're painting.
How much of it is about Monmouth versus, say, Suffolk poll?
Yeah,
Did
so,
he have better numbers for Bernie in that one?
Right. So in the Suffolk University poll, which really doesn't have a trend line, Bernie Sanders was at the same 15%. Elizabeth Warren was at 10%. Now, depending on the polls, you might find Bernie Sanders a little bit ahead of Elizabeth Warren, or Warren a little bit ahead of Sanders.
Now, understand, when they talk about the Suffolk poll, they're not talking about Suffolk, Virginia, where there's a lot of black people. They talking about Suffolk County, New York. The upper echelon, the elite. That's where you get the people on Long Beach. The people with the mansions, you know. People living in the Hamptons. That.
But there's no doubt, looking at the aggregate of polls, what you see is that Warren has risen from the mid-single digits back in March to now the mid-double digits now in June, while Bernie Sanders went from the low 20s down to the mid-double digits.
And why is that? Because moderate Democrats, centric Democrats, conservative Democrats will rather have Elizabeth Warren than Bernie Sanders. Why? Because Elizabeth Warren does not pose a threat to their money. Elizabeth Warren doesn't pose a threat to changing the system. They actually believe that Bernie Sanders will shake up the system and overturn the system. A lot of people believe that Bernie Sanders is the reincarnation of FDR, that he's going to rule like FDR, that he's going to have FDR-like administration. A lot of people believe that. But they're not polling a lot of people. They're picking and choosing who they're polling. And now that they got the numbers, they're trying to spin this narrative that Elizabeth Warren is winning all over the place. Winning all over the place.
You see Joe staying pretty much flat up there at the top right now. He hasn't seen a real challenge yet. We'll see what happens, because everybody's starting to get loved up by the media one by one. Beto, then Kamala, then Buttigieg, now Warren. Right. So we'll see what that impact is. If you are...
Cuomo, if they're getting loved up by the media, why are they not on the top three? They ain't getting no love by the media. Yeah, well, let me stop you. Yeah, they're getting some love by the media, but they're not getting love from the people. And this is what... Oh, man, it's... These people are talking about internal polling, external pollings, what the media is saying, and they're not really talking to grassroots people of all spectrums, Republican, Democrats, liberal, conservative, progressive, you name it, libertarians, Green Party people. They're not polling everybody. They're polling only liberal Dems, moderate and conservative Dems, and that's why you got these numbers. Of course, they're going to start. They know Joe Biden is a bad stain, and Joe Biden will get beat by Trump. They know this, and they know that Elizabeth Warren will get beat by Trump, but they believe they'll rather have Elizabeth Warren policy over Bernie Sanders party because they fear Bernie Sanders is going to shake things up.
Bernie Sanders. And you're looking over your shoulder at Warren. Why? What are you paying attention to?
Well, I think that there are a few things that I would point out that I'd be paying attention to. And this, I think, is a rather interesting thing that's going on. Elizabeth Warren has focused her campaign right on issues. I have the policy plans. I have a policy plan for everything. And this is a Quinnipiac University poll back from April when Warren was starting to rise. And what did we see? Which candidate do you think has the best policy ideas? Elizabeth Warren was getting 19% of that. Now, compared to which candidate do you think has the best chance of beating Trump? Elizabeth Warren was only at 3% of that vote.
Now, since he's going to bring up another elite poll, the Quinnipiac poll, you ever been to that area of New York? Ain't no black people. Maybe about 5% black. Now, the university probably got about 10% black. Now, read the topic up here. It says choice for nominee between regular Dems and Dem-leaning voters. Which candidate do you think has the best policy ideas? They got 23% Joe Biden. What policies can you think of right now that Joe Biden has? I'm waiting. None. Which candidate do you think has the best policy? They got 23% Joe Biden, and I bet you most of you listening to me right now cannot even name 3 policies of Joe Biden. You can name all the policies of Bernie Sanders. You can name all the policies of Senator Warren, but the problem is Senator Warren got those policies off Bernie Sanders. Which candidate do you think has the best chance of beating Trump? They got Joe Biden at 56%. What in the world? See, this is what I hate about them voters. See, they think that they don't understand that in order to win a general election, you got to get independents, you got to get some Republicans. You cannot win a general election on Democratic voters alone. You got to go outside. And guess what? Joe Biden is not winning independents, he's not winning Republicans. Even though Chuck Schumer said, for every Democrat we lose, we'll pick up 3-4 Republicans. No, you're wrong, dummy. That's how you lost. Let's keep going.
So it seems
How much of that is because they think Trump ate her lunch on the lineage thing?
it could very well be that, and that's something that she's obviously going to have to deal with, because right now her rise is mostly because voters are focusing on the fact that she has all these policy plans. But the fact is, if she is not able to convince them that she can beat Donald Trump, if she's not able to reach out to the
Let's say that correctly, bro. Regular Dem and Dem-leading voters, not voters overall, you liar. Stop trying to make it seem like you're talking to every voter in America, Republican, Democrat, Liberal, Green Party. Stop. Libertarian, you're not. You're only talking to regular Dems and Dem-leaning voters. Yet, they're going to try to paint the picture that they're talking to everybody. And everybody's saying Joe Biden has the best policies out of Warren and Bernie Sanders. Really?
Man, sit your dumb ass down and shut.
Really? You can't name me 3 policies of Joe Biden. If you did, they're probably worth taking toilet paper and wiping.
those moderate to conservative voters. Just take again, look at this. These are the voters that she needs to win over, moderate to conservatives. And she's simply put not doing that right now. She needs to have a clear trend line, a movement up with them, because this block of voters make up about 50% of the party, and this block also makes up 50%. But if you're only rising with 50% of the party and the other 50% are flat, and Joe Biden's...
No, numbnuts. Liberal Dems are moderate and conservative Dems. What you should have been questioning and asking questions, what you should have been doing is asking questions to progressives in the party and outside the party, and you have a different chart. But you're too much a punk to do that, because you got to spin a narrative. You got to tell your own story. You got to take out your paintbrush and stroke a picture to the public that Elizabeth Warren is winning, Joe Biden is winning, when actuality on the ground, and I know some of you don't like this, because I know some of you don't like Bernie Sanders, and I get it. Bernie Sanders is winning on the ground over those other two. On the ground. The proof is on the ground. The proof is at the events. If you can pack out these stadiums, you can get people to the poll. And the only reason that Hillary Clinton lost that election, it ain't nothing to do with Russia, it had nothing to do with Trump, because she did not know how to get people to the freaking polls. The only place she can get somebody to the polls were in metropolitan areas. She didn't know how to do it in Kentucky. She did not know how to do it in Nebraska. She did not know how to do it in Idaho and Utah. Bernie Sanders knew, but they cheated him. And she was too dumb that she gonna pick Tim Kaine to be a VP, another liberal, moderate, conservative Dem, and wonder why people didn't go out and vote for her. Had she picked Bernie Sanders as her VP, she possibly could have won the Rust Belt. See, Obama was smart enough. People say, why did Obama pick Joe Biden? It's simple. Everybody knows Joe Biden was a racist. Obama probably knew Joe Biden had racist policies. But Obama knew that Joe Biden had the ability to get the Midwest. Joe Biden had the ability to go get those areas that was hit by NAFTA and CAFTA. Joe Biden had the ability to go to talk to people in Idaho where a black person wouldn't even have a chance. And that's why he picked Biden, because where Obama was weak at, Biden was strong, and that's how they won twice. Hillary Clinton dumb behind, what she do, she go get one of the dumbest, most conservative, I can't, see, Tim Kaine I'm from Virginia. Tim Kaine was my governor. Nobody really liked it. Why? Because he turned his back on his voters and started kissing up to the military complex. And he shaped Virginia around the military. And yet Virginia is a military town, but he did more to shape Virginia into a military town instead of a community-driven state. And that's why she lost, because she just couldn't, just like the rest of them, she couldn't fathom that Bernie Sanders made her look dumb, and she couldn't bite the bullet and have him as VP. She gonna go pick old corporate king.
Running away with this lane, then that's more than enough to win the nomination, especially when you have 20-plus candidates.
So she can hurt Sanders more than she's hurting Biden at this point. You know what? I got to tell you, Harry, you just gave us some great perspective on what Senator Sanders was achieving in
No, you gave us some great lies, a bunch of lies.
his hit with us tonight. If you think about it, what did he do? Forget about policy. Everybody's got policies. I've got a plan to beat Trump one-on-one, and that's what we...
No, that's not what he did. Bernie Sanders still got the policies, and he still beat Trump, because in order for you to win an election, you dumb nuts, you can't focus on Democratic voters alone. You got to be able to appease or appeal to the independents or the non-voters, and even some Republicans. And that's the reason why Trump won, because he took Bernie Sanders' message and lied to most of America. He lied through his teeth. And he went out there and campaigned to win the independent vote. Matter of fact, a lot of the independents said, guys, you got to understand, independents did not like Hillary Clinton. They didn't. Her record is horrible. She was not a good Secretary of State. She was horrible. She messed Northeast Africa up. Right now they're selling slaves in Libya because of her. She was bad. Independence was not going for her. She the one went around saying you deserve $12 an hour when Bernie Sanders was saying $15 an hour. She lacked the ability to think big. She's exactly what's on that screen right now. A liberal, moderate, conservative. And independents don't want to jail with those type of people. They want a bold progressive. Republicans want a bold policymaker. They don't care about the name progressive. They don't care about that. They care about what you're going to do for my wallet. What you going to do? You going to bring back jobs? You're going to help me get a home? They care about that. And that's why they went with lying Trump over lying Hillary. Because both of them was liars. Both of them are crooks. And that's why I ain't vote for neither one of them. I voted for Jill Stein. So no, Cuomo, Bernie Sanders saying, not only do I have the policies, but I'm beating Trump because independents love me and even some Republicans love me and half the Democratic Party are feeling me. And it's not necessarily him, it's his policies. They want those policies. And Elizabeth Warren coming up with these odd ideas because she's trying to make her seem like she's 10 times more the policy queen than Bernie Sanders is the policy king. But you got to understand something about Bernie Sanders and truth. Here's truth again. Bernie Sanders didn't just come up with this stuff to try to win an election. These policies that Bernie Sanders have been proposing, he's been proposing for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Elizabeth Warren just started doing this. That's why I call her late Liz, opportunist Liz, because now she know in order for her to beat Bernie Sanders or beat Joe Biden, she got to be better than him on the policy. So she come and make up all these, she pull these policies out of a rabbit's hat, she pull it out of her behind, out of her nostrils and her ears, all trying to get people on her side. When the bottom line is, you don't have the juice to move the base to go out and vote. Now, I know I got some Elizabeth Warren supporters up here, but truth is truth. Truth is true. She's an opportunist that ain't gonna do nothing. She'll cave in to the financial industry. She already caving in. She took a vow. She took a vow to not take corporate money, PAC money, or any of that. She took a vow that she's only going to take money from the people. And she already went back on that vow by saying, well, if I do win the nomination, we got to go head to head with the Republicans. They're going to take money from any and everybody under the sun, including criminals. I guess I will too. Anyway, let me get off this.
Need. That was an interesting turn for him. Maybe this poll is why. Him not giving Biden a pass when it comes to being nice to segregationists.
That's exactly
Maybe that's why.
He wants...
Now, that is really hypocritical. You don't want to give Biden a pass for segregating, and I don't give him no pass. Because he's to me, Joe Biden is a racist. He's one of them low-key, on the low racists that I mean, I got evidence of just how he interact talking about black people. To me, he's Trump with a smile on his face. He's he's the Brad Pitt Trump. Pretty boy. I don't want white supremacists in office. Whether they up front with their mouth or whether they pushing policies. A white supremacist is a white supremacist, and I don't want a white supremacist in office. And Bernie Sanders signed that white supremacist bill. He didn't create it, but he supported it. And I know a lot of people don't like me saying that, but it is what it is, and you just got to take it. And I know you want me to stop saying that, but I'm not. Turn the channel, go to the next YouTuber. I'm not. And just like he's holding Joe Biden feet to the fire, I'm holding him to the fire. I need you to apologize for that, Doc. Now, and make amends. Now, I know you got a policy to deal with criminal justice, but how are you going to deal with criminal justice when you haven't make atonement for you supporting that horrible criminal justice bill? You need to make atonement for that. Not excuses, atonement. Anyway, these guys a bunch of liars, man. Paint a picture, hoping that the public will believe this crap, and when it's a bunch of crap.
In the voters' minds that, hey, Joe Biden may be this more moderate guy, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's more electable. I just want to point out one other thing, very, very quickly, which is the attention paid to the campaign. And this is another key thing for Elizabeth Warren. What we see is those voters who are paying a lot.
Again, read that. Registered Dems and Dem-leaning voters from a high-class, uppity Quinnipiac poll. High-class, uppity Quinnipiac poll, probably done at Quinnipiac University, which ain't that many black people there. Less Latinos, mostly whites. So, I mean, you're going to call Kyle and you're going to ask Kyle, who you think you're voting for this year? Your pop's a millionaire, your mom's a millionaire, you're going to inherit their money. Kyle, who are you going to vote for? You think Kyle going to vote for Bernie Sanders, the man who's trying to, who already said, I'm going to get rid of that estate tax? That I'm going to bring it back? No. But Cal go to Quinnipiac University where they did that Quinnipiac poll, and Cal's family is millionaires, and he's going to inherit that. No, Cal is McCain's daughter. Cal is Meghan McCain. And Meghan McCain can't stand Bernie Sanders. Meghan McCain can't stand Elizabeth Warren. That's why Meghan McCain is supporting Joe Biden over Trump. Because she know Joe Biden ain't going to mess with her money. But Senator Warren, she may think about messing with my money, but that doggone Bernie Sanders, he going to mess with my money. Get out of here with this mess, man.
Or some attention. She's doing very, very well versus Bernie Sanders has the exact different thing going on. Those who are paying little to no attention, that's where he's doing his best, and that's a real worrisome sign for him going forward.
Harry Enton, handsome genius.
You know what? A handsome genius, but
No, Harry Hansen is a handsome liar, a bald-faced liar, a bald face.
Two handsome geniuses, right?
Nah, we'll take one. One is good. All right, so we heard from Joe Biden tonight. He is pushing back on his opponents, all right? He's saying, no way I'm apologizing for my record on civil rights.
So as you see, the lies are going on in the media. That's why Trump's call it fake media. Now, he didn't start that word, but I agree with Trump on that. The media is a bunch of lying hacks. Whether it's his media, Fox News, bunch of lying hacks, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, you name it, bunch of liars. Their job is to lie to you. That's why they make the big bucks. You very rarely find honest, truth journalism. That's why on the Raw Report, where our slogan is, the truth and nothing but the truth, or the truth will make you free. And truth is when it comes to polling, your best way to measure where this election is going is at the grassroots, is on the ground. Okay? That's the best way to measure it. That's why we got people on the ground in ADOS going out on the ground at these campaign events, calling these politicians out. They can't do that on some dumb, rich, elite poll like Quinnipiac poll, a Monmouth poll. They can't. Because there's too many cows. Who daddy got millions of dollars and already wrote in the will that Kyle's going to get that money. Kyle ain't voting for no doggone Bernie Sanders, and Kyle ain't voting for Senator Warren because she may just think about it. Think about it, messing with his money scares Kyle. But you know Joe Biden ain't going to do nothing. Matter of fact, Joe going to cut his taxes just like Trump cut his taxes. They scared of Bernie Sanders, so they're going to sit there and lie to you now. I told you before. I try to tell the truth in some situations. You go to any Bernie Sanders event, whether you like him or not, it's packed. He got a bunch of blacks there. He got a bunch of Latinos there. He got Asians there. He got more Asians there than Yang. Bunch of Jewish people. Bunch of he got all kind. He got a diversity. What America look like is at his event, and they come in there by the thousands. Joe Biden can't even fill up a broke down Denny's restaurant. Elizabeth Warren can't even fill up a high school gymnasium, no matter how good her so-called policies are. But yet Bernie Sanders can go to Brooklyn University. I mean, not Brooklyn University, but he can go to his alma mater in Brooklyn. He can go to Chicago. You name it. He can pack out stadiums. He ain't doing it like he did in 2016. That has died down a little bit. I got to let you know. He ain't packing out, the LA Rams Stadium. He may not. We still got a year to go. But the proof is in the ground, not with these numbnuts on live TV. I'm Robert Brown with the Raw Report. I'll let you later. Peace. Hey, this is Robert Brown with the Raw Report. I want to thank you for watching this particular segment of the Raw Report. Now, before you go, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this particular video. Hit the notification bell That way you can be alerted whenever we get a new video done and uploaded. Whoop, there it is. But I do try to offer programs available to you that will save you money. So when you get a chance, go to the EJ for All, E, letter J, number 4, all.com, and get educated on one of the most powerful legal protection programs on the face of this planet. Everybody at least need to know about this phenomenal program. I've been a member for 10 years and it got me out of a lot of situations, saved me a ton of money. And then also, I have a new streaming service available. It's called IHQ TV for $39 a month. You get access to over 6,000 high-quality HD channels, premium channels, you name it, movie channels, sports channel, the best sport packages around. If you're international from another country, you get access to the channels back home. You name it, kids, entertainment, you name it, it's available for you. So go to DominionIXQTV.com, DominionIXQTV.com, and hey, go ahead and put your information in there and get the free trial. Yep, we'll send you a free trial, let you try it out, and I'm telling you, you will love it. And we have a refer for, pay no more ever. As long as you got those 4 people using the service, you never have to pay a cable bill another day in your life. And all those people who support either of those 2 services, I'm gonna make sure you have access to the Patreon channel for free. All right, well, I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Holla at you later. Peace.